So, Nick, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks yourself. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. For those people who are unaware, Nick is the CEO of Coin Bureau, which is an absolutely massive channel. It's one of the biggest crypto YouTube channels in the world. I actually feel silly for introducing you like that because I feel like everybody knows you. You're so well known in the space.
Well, yes, the Coin Bureau, it's not one of it is the biggest crypto YouTube channel in the world. But if they may not know me, they may know Guy. Guy's probably also one of the OGs at Coin Bureau. He's most well known given that he's been on the channel from the Genesis days. But yeah, I was there from the beginning as well. And now Coin Bureau has expanded out beyond just the main channel, which I'm sure we'll talk about in this podcast interview.
I'm so looking forward to this, and thank you so much for doing the interview. Nick, a question that I always ask my guests is if I was to meet you in high school, what kind of person were you?
Oh, in high school, I was a bit of a rebel, to be honest. Yeah, I was a bit of a rebel. I was, I think that I was kind of slightly ill-disciplined because I was against. I didn't like the idea of rules, and in those days as well. Like I think that my high school career was kind of tumultuous as well. I was, given that, then I kind of lost a bit of direction, and I made up for it when I eventually got into university. Made up for my high school days. So yeah, when I was in a high school, I was a bit more on the rebel side, skater
Okay,
boy.
awesome, awesome. Nick, you actually heard about Bitcoin in 2011. Now, that's very, very early. So, for those people who are unaware, the Genesis block of Bitcoin was the 3rd of January 2009. You heard about it in 2011. How did you discover it?
So it's interesting. So back in 2011, I was doing investment banking internships, right? And at that stage, I was on an internship at an investment bank. And part of the assessment for the investment bank was to do a presentation on a particular project of some description. And I was given the Bitcoin white paper and told to do a presentation on this to the senior bankers. And I came across the Bitcoin white paper. I read it. I found it fascinating to the effect that you actually could have a decentralized currency. And I summarized it and I presented it to the bankers. But at that particular point in time, I thought to myself, look, and I even put this in the presentation, as exciting as this technology is, central bankers will never allow a parallel currency to exist. And much to my eternal regret, I unfortunately didn't buy any cryptocurrency or Bitcoin back in 2011 when I first came across that white paper.
Mhm. Tell me about 2016. So if you fast forward a couple of years, it was a halving year for Bitcoin. Bitcoin started off the year around about 4,400 US dollars. It ended the year about 1,000. You rediscovered Bitcoin then. How was that?
Yeah, so just a bit of context prior to that. After doing the presentation investment bank in internship, I eventually worked in an investment bank for 4 years, and I then saw how the traditional financial system worked from inside the four walls, inside the beast. Then I left the investment bank because I thought that it wasn't fit for purpose, and I wanted to be in a fast-paced entrepreneurial scene. And at that time, I was working on another startup, and I wanted to make a payment online, buying a domain, and then I came across the option to pay via Bitcoin. In This is in 2016, and at that stage, it kind of clicked to me to the extent that this technology that I initially dismissed was now being used in actual commerce. I could actually transact a unit of value to buy a domain. And then I went down the proverbial crypto rabbit hole, the wonderful world of cryptocurrency. And at that stage, I started initially just trading Bitcoin, and then I bought some Ethereum as well in 2016. And it was a crazy time in that stage because wasn't that well known. It was to find information about it was difficult, but it was an amazing time to be in crypto. And then, of course, came the 2017 bull market, which was crazy itself. And then is when you started to see the ICOs and everything. So I think that was one of the best times to be in crypto, to be honest.
You got into Ethereum in 2016. That's really, really good because Ethereum only came out in 2015. So you were very early into Ethereum. Now, you went full in to crypto and Bitcoin in 2017. Now, for those people who are unaware, 2017 was Bitcoin's second bull run. The price went from around about 1,000 US dollars all the way up to just under 20,000 US dollars. And like you said, institutions started to come into crypto and the Bitcoin space with ICOs. What was 2017 like for you?
2017. So that's when we went full time into cryptocurrency, full time trading in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And in the later stages of the year, I also got into a few ICOs, got burnt very badly on some of those ICOs. But you live and let learn, and it's those formative stages which you learn by getting a bit burnt. And then after having been trading crypto for like 6 months or so, I decided that there wasn't really. I discovered there was a dearth of information online in terms of, as I explained, explaining cryptocurrencies to people and breaking down the protocols, breaking down the technology, and also all the different kinds of altcoins that were out there. And then I thought, well, the best way to understand a discipline is to explain it to other people in a fluent manner, right? So if you want to learn, teach. And that's when I thought, let's start a education portal, a platform, like a website that can teach people about cryptocurrency. And this was the initial stages of the Coin Bureau. So I bought the domain in like late 2017, and then we just started publishing articles. A guy joined as well. He was an editor on the website, and we started publishing articles, reviews of all the cryptocurrency altcoins, and then also breakdowns of the technology and everything. And the website did quite well. It picked up a lot in terms of SEO and search traffic, and those were the really formative days. And it was so interesting to be able to actually break down these constructs of people, and I learned so much from it as well. And that's how, like, that was 2017 for me, and then we started the website in like 2018, and we went on from there.
So, at the time, I've got a good couple of questions on 2018 actually. So at the time, um, the theory of the 4-year cycle was coming about. Were you aware that we had a halving year, then a bull run year, which was 2017? After 2017, we had the bear market, or were you caught out with the 2018 bear market?
Sorry, you're saying we had a bear market in 2018? Yes.
Yeah.
So what was the
So
question?
were you aware that we were going to have this bear market? So we had this parabolic bull run in 2017.
I mean,
Were
yeah.
you aware we went
I
into a
mean, I
bear
don't
market?
think, and those days I recall back, I don't think that the 4-year cycle theory was that well known, because it was only a few, like 1 or 2 cycles. So you can't really project out further in terms of historical data. It was just 1 or 2 data points. I think that there was not, everyone obviously knew what the halving was and why it was important. There were theories, of course. If I think back to those days, 2018, the stock to flow models, for example, if you go back to the theories back in those days in terms of how the slower inflation rate of Bitcoin and compared to the available stock would lead to a rally in its price. And no, I didn't expect it to be a complete cold bear market in 2018. Indeed, I was still running off the highs of the 2017 all-time high that we saw with Bitcoin, and then all the altcoins, and I felt incredibly optimistic about the future of cryptocurrency, because I'd bought into a lot of these ICOs and these altcoins that had done very well. But obviously, and you think you're a genius. Everyone thinks they're a genius in a bull market, right? And they think that it's going to go up forever. And I recall back in those days as well, I'd bought XRP at like, I don't know, 20 cents, and then it rallied to like $3 or more in the end of 2017. I thought, wow, I'm such a good altcoin picker. I'm really good at this. I should do this full time. But yeah, and I sold out of that. But there were a lot of other altcoins I did buy into. So I think no, I didn't sell the top then. I just hodled. I held my Bitcoin stack. I hodled my Ethereum stack. I hodled. Watched it go from massively inflated at that stage to much less valuable in early 2018, mid 2018, when the bear market started.
Hmm. So you were very brave because you did open the website, the educational website in 2018. Tell me, how did you come up with the name Coin Bureau?
It's actually quite funny that to the extent that I was on that stage. I think I don't know if it's still around. There's a website called Flipper, and it's a domain marketplace, website marketplace, etc. And at that stage, I was just looking for browsing Flipper for domains that we could buy that were quite related to cryptocurrency in some way. And Coin Bureau was available. And at that stage, I didn't actually know that Coin Bureau's direct translation in French was corner office, which is funny. But I thought it was quite a quirky name. You know, it's like cryptocurrency coins, and then your bureau, like a bureau, like a news bureau or something. And just like it was $500, bought the domain, and then just started it. And that's how it came about. And obviously subsequent to that, thankfully there was no trademark issues. We bought the trademarks all around the world. But yeah, that's the foundations of the domain. No real big thinking going into it. Just like, oh, there's a cool name, quirky. Let's bag it.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, so in 2019, so 2018 was the bear market, 2019 was the recovery year. Now, in 2019, you decided to go into video. So you had the website, but now you decided to make videos as well. First of all, what made you take the leap? And then secondly, why was Guy chosen to do the videos?
Yeah. So firstly, okay, why we decided to go into video. So as a website, Coin Bureau, and a website that was focused on SEO or search engine optimized content, was most of our traffic, 90% of our traffic, was driven by Google search results, right? And that it was highly optimized for that. And as a result, it was very dependent on Google itself. And as any person who produces content online in any form will know, that is quite a large centralization risk. And back in mid 2019, when we
Mhm.
were reaching all-time high in terms of traffic, and it was doing incredibly well, the website, in terms of search rankings, Google released an algorithm update, which completely tanked a lot of cryptocurrency websites traffic and search rankings. And if I recall, I think our revenue and our traffic dropped by like 80% overnight.
Gosh.
That's a massive hit for any sort of business, right? So 80%. And there were other websites I recall from back in those days who were essentially eradicated because of how bad the update was. And that's a scary thing for anyone. And this is, of course, in the middle of a cold bear market. So not only do you have crypto prices going through the floor, your portfolio is looking weak, revenues are
Mhm.
collapsing, but you've also now had at least 70 to 80% of your traffic collapse. So at that stage, we just thought, look, let's try and keep on keeping our heads above water. We make some cost cutting here or there, but let's think about ways in which we can get content out there in a different form. And initially, at that stage, we thought, well, look, right now, no one really wants to read long, comprehensive, blog posts and educational posts anymore. They'd rather watch something in video format. And we thought, okay, let's try and just summarize and synthesize our reviews into a presented form on in video. And at that stage, of course, like I say, it was Guy there as well, and we got together, all of us, in London, and we said, okay, well, who's going to pull the shortest straw? We pulled straws, and we also and I think Guy, to be honest, like the most well presented, well spoken British chap, probably made the best fit for this kind of role. And we then just started summarizing these posts, and we started presenting them. And Guy, we shot these things in a living room in London, and with a like handy cam, put them on YouTube, not expecting much in terms of any sort of reach, just basically as a complementary offering to our articles, and embedded it within our articles, but it was still published on YouTube. And much to our surprise, people actually started watching the actual YouTube videos themselves. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Mhm, mhm. Let's talk about 2020. So the beginning of the year, obviously COVID hit. It was a very difficult time. People were dying everywhere. People were losing their jobs. People were sick. There was a lot of uncertainty. And then in March 2020, Bitcoin had one of its worst corrections where it fell from, I think it was 9,800 US dollars down, $9,200 US dollars down to 3,800 US dollars. That was a correction of 63%. And then later on, we had stimulus, and we'll talk about that when we go into the bull market. But how did that affect you? Because it was such a difficult time, and all the rest of it. Did you ever think about giving up on crypto and finding a more solid job?
Well, I never thought that. I never thought about giving up on crypto ever, even in 2019, 2020, and 2022, which we'll get to as well. At that stage, there was a lot going on in the world, right? Like if you recall back when when Bitcoin collapsed, stocks also completely collapsed, right? And the world was going through massive shifts. Obviously, there was the pandemic, which many people were worried about, right, in terms of what this could mean for the world, and there was a lot of uncertainty at that point. But Bitcoin did have that massive collapse. Ethereum also had massive liquidations. I remember back in the days of the DeFi unwinds on MakerDAO, etc. And just watching this collapse happen in real time. But that, at the same time, like I say, you have traditional markets also completely collapsing around you, and you have questions around what's going to happen to the world with COVID. So I think in that particular stage, I was like, cryptocurrency, what was great about that stage as well as a business is that we were an online business, right? So I'm sure it'd be a lot more concerning if we were a business that relied on physical going to an office or any sort of customers
Mhm.
in that way, or travel or retail or all these kinds of things. So we were a small business that was basically based online. And thankfully at that time, given that there was so much uncertainty with what's going on financially, but also in the world, we, producing content that people could learn about cryptocurrency when at this particular point in time still did well for us. And we saw a lot of growth in 2020 in terms of views and channel subscription growth. So in that respect, it wasn't too much of a concern for us. And cryptocurrency did bounce back quickly after the 2020 the March crash. You recall it basically. It was a quick bounce, and it recovered quite quickly when we started seeing the massive amounts of QE, and that's of course kicked off the 2020 to 2021 bull run.
Mhm, mhm. Let's talk about that, because towards the end of the year, we had a huge amount of stimulus entering into the markets and also people's pockets. We get to 2021. 2020 was a halving year, so 2021 was naturally a bull run year. We start off the year around about 30,000 US dollars, and we literally go straight up until April 2021, where we hit the pi cycle top and also the 64,000 US dollar peak. We then had the China FUD, we had the Tesla FUD, and all the rest of it. And we went right the way down. We lost 50% of value. We ranged at 30,000 for a good couple of months. A lot of Bitcoins was taken off the exchanges. A lot of hype came into the crypto market and all the rest of it. It led us to make the actual all-time high in November 2021 at 69,000 US dollars. Then we had the SEC come in, we had Wells notices issued to cryptocurrency exchanges, cryptocurrency projects, economical concerns, and naturally it was the end of the 4-year cycle. That's briefly what happened in 2021. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. Everybody's like, oh man, I should have bought more. I should have bought more, or I should not have sold when, it dipped and all the rest of it. You lived through that. Not only did you live through that, you had the Coin Bureau and you had lots of people relying on the information that you gave. What was 2021 like for you?
Yeah, it was peak madness, man. It was. So I think that in terms of channel growth, subscriber growth, that was the best year ever. I recall back in those days, and this was because of the fact, coming back to the point, people are at home. Still, early 2021, there was still a lot of lockdowns globally. and the world hadn't fully opened up, and everyone was at home, and then it was also the tail end of QE, so everyone had additional funds. At least in the US, they had these stimmy checks going out, stimulus checks, and people were investing in cryptocurrency. Was still this relatively new nascent industry, still at that stage, and people were eager to learn about cryptocurrency. And there was all the altcoins were popping off, and yeah, that altcoin season was also altcoin season in that time, right? So a real proper good altcoin season. So everything was going crazy, and everyone wanted to watch and learn about cryptocurrency. So that's when we saw the most growth in our channel. And there were some days in which we'd see, I don't know, over 10,000 subscribers signing up a day, which is crazy by these standards today. And it was, yeah, it was a crazy time. And then at that stage as well, the world was still, like I say, slowly opening up, and we had. There was, of course, the China FUD. We saw that initial top at 63, and then the China FUD sent it down lower. Could have been an ideal time to buy as well. But if you're buying altcoins in the dip, that would have been a good opportunity, because Bitcoin dominance started falling as well. And yeah, it's just the amount of growth we saw then. And then towards the end in 2020, I think the peak was marked by this is exactly November 2021, which is, I think, near the top peak. We basically decided we're going to have a Christmas party, and because we done so well this year. And this should have been the immediate sign that probably this is the top behavior coming, when you start thinking about elaborate Christmas parties. But at that stage, the team was still decentralized. There was a main team in the UK. I was based in Toronto, and others in other places around the world. We thought, let's get everyone together in Dubai for a 2021 Christmas party. Let's rent a yacht. Let's go and rent some villas. Let's go to the clubs and all that. And yeah, that marked the exact 69K. That yacht party marked the exact 69K top. And subsequent to that, obviously, we started going down and falling into 2022. So yeah, now I know that first of all, whenever you think that things can go up forever, and whenever you're starting to spend a lot of money, like you've got a lot, you should start thinking about taking some chips off the table. But yeah, 2021 was a crazy year. And it was coming at a time as well. And in terms of the business, when we were thinking more broadly around where we want to be going forward, location-wise, and the team had expanded quite a lot. And, the channel had, at that stage as well, I think 2021 was when we officially became the largest crypto YouTube channel, overtook our competitors. And I think we broke 2 million in 2022. But yeah, it was a crazy time.
Let's talk about 2022. So obviously we had the halving year 2020. 2021 was a bull run year. 2022 we had the bear market. A lot of things happened. We had a lot of black swan events. We had Celsius, we had FTX, we had Voyager, we had 3 Hours Capital, and plenty more. It seemed like a lot of projects and were literally going to zero. It seemed like almost overnight, and it was a domino effect. Once one started to go down, there would be another one in a week or so later, and all the rest of it. It was a difficult time. The bear market, especially the 2022 bear market, was absolutely brutal. We did make the bottom in November 2022 at around about 16,000 US dollars. But what really stands out to me is that during this very brutal time, you decided to actually move to Dubai and to start up the channel in Dubai. How did you feel about that, considering it was the bear market? Did you ever doubt yourself?
So no, I did. Okay, so put it into context. I think we'd been structuring and potential thinking about a move to a new jurisdiction, and moving the team all into one location, because, like I say, we'd been all decentralized prior to that, and we'd explored a number of different places. And we'd been to Dubai a few times before. We thought about setting up infrastructure here in 2021. But then we made the full move in 2022. And it is always challenging to move to a brand new place, and moving all the team and the company at the same time, and setting things up. And that was, we moved in, started the move in April 2022. And that's obviously, I think, just before we started seeing the collapses in terms of Luna, I think it was first Luna, then 3AC, and that was into June 2022. And I remember like 3AC happened just prior to me landing here, which is in June 2022. So we set up the company and everything. And obviously at that stage, the full extent of the collapse hadn't been known yet because FTX hadn't gone bust. And we were setting up the company, setting up the team, moving the team here. And it was obviously a lot of cost involved in moving to a new jurisdiction and office, building out the studios and all that, and hiring people locally. And yeah, and then November 2022 came around. Prior to that, obviously, crypto had been slowly falling. So, your bags are going down and the revenue is going down as well. But then, of course, 2022 November came around when FTX collapsed. We lost a lot of funds on FTX. And that's obviously massively challenging. And at the same time as that's happening, you've got crypto markets completely collapsing. So, the assets are falling, assets you hold on balance sheet, assets you hold personally, completely collapsing. And also revenues falling, because if you make your revenue through subscriptions or, or sponsorships or any sort or affiliation, it's going to impact on your revenue. So all of that's happening at the same time. And yeah, it was challenging, man. It was challenging, I tell you, to keep going. But we just kept on, hunkering down, heads down, go and still covering the content, letting people know exactly what's happening with the market and what happened with FTX at exactly the same time as we fully affected. It's a challenging environment to be in. But I think that having been in the space for so long and having this underlying view that no matter what happens, cryptocurrency is the technology of the future, you realize that these things are, they're passing by, and you just have to kind of keep your head down and have the discipline to continue, and that fortitude that it's just a tough time and it will recover. So yeah, it was a tough time, but in the end, we stuck with it, and eventually, things turned out better.
Tell me about your family. So you're leaving Toronto, you're going to Dubai. Were they aware, or were they in crypto themselves? Do they see all the hardship that you were facing and what was happening in the markets as well?
I mean, they saw what was happening in the markets. I think that I personally try to keep family life and my business and work and crypto separate. So they knew I was involved in cryptocurrency. And at that stage as well, I wasn't fully public in terms of Coin Bureau's work and stuff. So I don't think that they took too much interest in it. But I think that they had faith in the fact that I knew what I wanted to do in life, and where the businesses I was building were, there was a reason I was doing it. And I think that they supported me either way. But yeah, I can't imagine if I told my family early on that I was going all into cryptocurrency, maybe in 2017, 2018, I probably would have gotten a lot of weird stares and questions. But yeah, I think that's why I thought to just keep it to myself and, building it out.
Okay, let's talk about the recovery year 2023 now. So you are the CEO of Coin Bureau, but in 2023, you went from behind the scenes in front of the camera. Why did you make that move, and how nerve-wracking was that?
So why did I make the move? I think it's because prior to that, I always preferred just to be behind the scenes. I just wanted to, work on the operational side, building out the YouTube side, and then just thinking more on the research side of it. So I was very much into the research myself. But then I thought, firstly, there was many people, because I was behind the scenes, they tried to use that as an example, tried to pull that as an example of someone else trying to control the strings. And because of my background in investment banking, working for Goldman Sachs, they kind of like viewed that as some sort of a nefarious actor behind the scenes, as if I had ill intentions. Why was I not public about it and all that? And I thought, well, to be honest, why? I have nothing to hide, and like, we're an honest business trying to present crypto education. Why am I behind the scenes? I should be more public about it. And also, I think that it's also a great experience to be able to explain disciplines to people in your own way, right? It's one thing to be able to produce content and watch it from behind the operation, but to actually present to other people and share the passion you've got for this technology with other people is an amazing opportunity. And it was nerve-wracking because I hadn't been presenting prior to that. I hadn't got it behind a YouTube channel, and it was at that stage quite large as well. So the audience, maybe how would they take to me? Who do they think I am? And am I willing to open myself up to criticism of any description, internet trolls and all that? And it was a challenging experience for sure. But
Mhm.
I'm glad I did it, because I think that when you can present content to people as well, you develop yourself as a person in terms of how you come across. And yeah, it's great to be able to share a passion with other people in your own voice.
Mhm. So you've been to a lot of conferences. We actually met at a conference, the CCCC
Mhm.
conference. You've also interviewed a lot of people. Who really sticks out as somebody that you've interviewed or somebody that you've met in crypto?
Well, like in terms of interviewed people, I mean, I've spoken to quite a few. I mean, I regularly got Arthur Hayes on, who's
Mm,
quite well known. I think just because he's got some really interesting takes, he's kind of like a really funny guy. Like, he likes to swear on the interviews and everything, and I think this kind of like brings a flair to it. Your typical crypto bro, and but then he's also very smart to the extent that he like reads the macro tea leaves, and he has these long blog posts that break it down, and to dig into those is very interesting. I recently also did a piece with, or did an interview with Raoul Pal, who is from the perspective
mhm,
of the macro side of it, obviously very well known in the space as well. But I've also interviewed like CEOs. Like I remember I interviewed Jeremy Allaire back 2 years ago at Binance Blockchain Week, and then also Richard Teng from Binance. So there's quite a few people that I've met in the space that have I've taken away a lot of things from them, uh, in person and also in the interview side of it. I remember I've also done interviews with crypto founders like Adeni Abiodun, who's from Sui, a very smart guy as well, to hear more about what they build on the project side. And then macro thought leaders, like I've also done one with Jordi Visser, who is quite well known from last year for publishing the thesis on the Bitcoin IPO moment. He's also a very big AI bull, and I think I interviewed him last year, about 3-4 months ago, and he had really interesting thoughts on where the crypto is going. So yeah, I mean, I've broad swath of people I've spoken to and taken away a lot from in this space.
mhm, mhm. And also with Coin Bureau as well, you've now expanded to a trading channel, which I think you opened in 2024, and also a financial channel, which I believe you opened last year as well. That's very exciting. Tell me about those.
So yeah, we've got numerous different channels. The trading channel was we wanted to present trading kind of content is more fast paced. It's more charts and slightly shorter content, and it wasn't really fit for the main channel audience. So we then there started a trading channel in late 2024, early 2025, and it's expanded out to now at least 4 hosts. So that's great. We've got 4 hosts putting content out there. We've also then got different language channels. We've got a Spanish language channel, Conviera Español, which does direct translated videos of our main channel. The VODs, a girl called Marbe, and then we've also got a trader there called Cedric. So we've got content going out in Spanish. We've also done a partnership with 2 crypto YouTubers out in Malaysia. We've done a JV on a Coin Bureau Mandarin channel, so we're doing content in Mandarin as well there. And we've recently, just about, say, October last year, so about 3-4 months ago, we've started the Coin Bureau Finance channel. And the goal of Coin Bureau Finance was to basically do videos similar to our main channel, OG videos, VODs, very well presented 15 to 20-minute breakdowns of geopolitics, traditional financial topics, and macro and that's been our fastest growing channel so far. I mean, we've now close to 50,000 subscribers, and like I said, it's 3-4 months old. And this is basically just an opportunity for us to, if we are going into a bear market and crypto winter, whatever you want to think it is, it's a good opportunity for us to get that kind of content out there, because we have covered that content quite often in the past, especially back in the 2022 bear market, and that allowed us to continue growing even when crypto was in a winter. So we've started that out right now. and we're looking at expanding out beyond just those channels as well. We may look at other language channels, and getting speaking to people in other geographies, because I think the crypto English crypto YouTube market, we've kind of tapped out in terms of where we're at right now. So a lot of plans.
They're all very exciting. So, what do you actually do to relax? Because you do a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So I'm pretty regularly in the gym every single day. In the morning, I have to get a gym workout in, and it helps me to detox, but also just clear my thoughts. I think I do it more from the purpose, from the goal of mental fortitude than actually physical. Right? I think it allows me to relax and recenter myself. So I do that every single day without fail. I also do meditation. Breathing exercises every single day. I do at least 20 minutes a day, generally before I go to the gym. So that keeps me grounded. And I listen to podcasts, I read. So I do try to get out. And I think it's important to take your heads out of the charts sometimes and log off of crypto Twitter and do touch some grass and get some me time, because if you're fully immersed in it every single day and you don't take a break, it can be psychologically challenging.
Mhm. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Nic, for coming on and sharing your crypto journey with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad to see that there's other content creators out there that are trying to help spread the word of cryptocurrency to as many people as possible. Because, one thing that we've learned is that although we've grown to the size we're at, the only way that I think we could really have mass adoption of cryptocurrency is if other people take the mantle as well and run with it. And I'm glad to see that content creators like yourself are doing that.